Okay, guys, we're back with round 6. It is already, I think. And we have, it seems, we have a quite an interesting matchup. We have Yoshi Kraum on the right side, so maybe that's Boros Yoshi with a couple of extensions. And on the left side, we have Mono Blue Storm featuring Lier. So that's a commander that LSV also tried in a MTGO league some time ago. Mm, it's an interesting one. I think it's a very interesting dynamic to have a card that, once resolved, denies your entire interaction, since you cannot counter, since it's like a generic effect, right? Or a symmetric effect. But overall, interesting. I think people are just exploring the deck. And I'm pretty sure we will see it much more often in the future. There's not much mono blue action going on right now. So here we have a good start, I would say. Yoshi into Mental Misstep. That's what the blue player needs. Followed by a Preordain on turn 2. Happy to see that deck. So yeah, it's basically a high tide deck. And you can win with a Brain Freeze. Some decks, but I think that's not. I think you mainly win with Brain Freeze, actually. There might be a second win con. If you guys know better, I will just have a look at the current lists. Maybe they tell us something about the win conditions. And here we have the Brain Freeze already in hand. Merchant Scroll can search for High Tide, for example. And the last card is a Thought Score. Thought Score, or yeah, that's a Thought Score, not the other one. So let's have a look. We have you also play those twiddle spells, twiddle and dreams grip and whatsoever. And it seems that, yeah, I think Brain Freeze is your win condition here. So if the opponent has a endurance up in their upkeep, which is not the case here for Jeskai, for example, but there are.
All right, I am back.
Welcome back. We have Lier, Mono Blue, High Tide, Brain Freeze combo.
Yes,
That's really
I
cool.
was listening. Beautiful, beautiful islands.
Yes.
Uh,
Your favorite ones? Or
one of
your
my
ones?
favorite island artworks.
Yeah. And they are beautiful.
So we've seen I would say this is a slow start from. I don't know the Yoshi got. Yeah,
Yoshi
well, I
got
mean
misstepped.
they're not being a 2-drop. Seems pretty slow. Um, and I mean Misstep is one of the cards in the Lier deck that deals with Yoshi cleanly. There isn't that many, so that's something you probably have to be keeping in order to have, let's say, a chance
Hmm.
in this matchup. Now that I'm reading Leah, I didn't. I knew about the second line of text. I hadn't seen the first line of text, which is interesting. I mean, considering you can't just play her out and then still hope to counter the opponent's spells because
Exactly. That's
his
that's
spells
one
can't be countered.
that's one thing. The other thing is, and that makes it interesting again, is that you can abuse spells like rewind or unwind and stuff like this to target your own spells. They can't be countered, but you get the untap in order to produce more mana
True.
in a high tide
Mhm,
line, which makes
mhm,
it
mhm.
interesting again, you know? So it's quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It
once
is.
you resolve it and you cannot go off in the same turn, which is most often the case because 5 mana is quite a lot, um, you have to hope for your opponent not having something that would deal with Lier right away.
Yeah. Lier seems like a very interesting list. It's very straightforward. I will not straightforward in the way that it plays, but in the deck building, you just play like the good spells that kind of work around it. You have a lot of cantrips, a lot of stuff. You said that it only wins with brain
I
freeze.
think so, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the cool thing is that you play a
There has to be
candlestick.
some loop that right.
I'm
Was it
not sure
chaos?
if the deck features a card that lets your opponent draw a card so that you can win the game right away.
I mean, yes, but there are cards that let the opponent draw cards, but
So the list I'm looking at right now has nothing in that direction. Cool that you
yeah,
play a candlestick. Let's see if this player does so.
true.
I mean,
This
quite
is
an
a lot of
expensive card
mana,
these days.
but I feel like this list looks to me a bit.
Actually, we talked about cards that we don't have in our collection yet, right? And
Yeah, but Candelabra is not one that I would
and the card is like
fork
almost
out
a
the cash for.
thousand euros. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I think
Candelabra is one of those cards that
we had it once on
um
cam, I think, when playing Teferi back then.
yeah, and I mean I think the I would say the more productive use of it, or there's the high tide use case, but there's also the Highlander untap my academy with it use case,
Yeah, yeah, that's
which
crazy.
is more of a realistic thing in my opinion.
Yeah, also very powerful.
But yeah, I mean I would think that the Lier deck would would play something like a laboratory maniac,
Mm-mm.
something that lets you, or like a Jace that lets you, once you
Mm.
have all this mana, you have kind of a, maybe not a critical density, but you have a lot of cards that
But you know,
allow you to.
the problem is finding either of those because your deck consists of so many spells that find instant and sorceries, right? So it's pretty hard to find a planeswalker or a creature in mono blue.
Well, yeah,
So I could see why, and then like it doesn't work to mill yourself, and then you have no cards in your because only instant and sorceries are granted flashback. So there's also no
yeah.
way to get them back from the graveyard. Otherwise, I would totally see your argument.
I mean, there are things that you can do. You can have instant sorceries that get back cards in your graveyard. I think that
Yeah,
there
I
has to
I
be
mean,
some.
what you could do is if you can play it like very safe, and that would be against certain decks that would be the correct play. Like if you expect something your opponent could bring up that would put the graveyard back on top of your library, which is most likely an endurance, then you could of course find a way to maybe bounce Lear and have like a bunch of mana left when you pass the turn in order to counter endurance simply.
Yeah, yeah, but I love these sorts of high tide decks, but I'm always surprised when they do actually win.
If you're interested,
When
you should definitely check out the game when LSV played it. That was very entertaining, I thought. Also
Okay,
because
okay.
LSV plays it, of course,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he does little to no mistakes. But that was like a great showing of what the deck is capable of. And it's cool that
Interesting.
such big names touch the format.
Yeah. Looking at it on MTG Top 8, it's mainly two guys that grind it on MTGO that
I've
kind
seen
of
that, yeah.
makes the density of entries on Top 8. And every now and then there's a paper version that gets played.
Actually, three guys, right? There's this Inacimento is also okay. 2 times brought up some results, but I think you're right.
Yeah, it's mostly the Bicode Geya.
Yeah. However, that's
Yeah,
pronounced.
and the Zachary Hale comes up.
What is this card?
Frantic Search.
That's a frantic search.
I believe so.
Oof, 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 big oof. Aye, aye, aye. You might be right.
I mean, he has just resolved the magic card Frantic Search, so I believe so.
Here we go. Interesting artwork. I think I haven't seen it yet.
Right, Lier on the board. We
Yeah,
have a high tide happening.
there's a high tide.
How? Oh no, the high tide has already been cast. Yeah, okay. The high tide has been
It's
cast.
been
The Lier
cast
has been resolved.
twice, right? Because he just exiled it, so he cast it
Yeah, it
with
was the second
flashback
time
also.
now, so
Yeah.
it's making that D20 in the middle. I'm guessing represents the amount of mana he has in pool.
Yeah, and the other one is the storm count.
No, the red one is storm count, and the other one is mana in pool.
Are you sure about that? No.
Yeah, look,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
goes
right,
to
right.
7,
Okay, yeah.
takes it down to 1.
I mean,
Merchant
that's
scroll.
definitely a deck that is much more relaxing to play on MTGO because MTGO keeps track of your storm count and it
Keeps
keeps
track of
track
your tutus and your
of your
mana.
mana
Yeah,
and everything. So
yeah.
if you want to play on mana traders or on MTGO using mana traders, you can use one of our codes to get a discount for your deck renting.
All right, here we see an intuition, which will likely get a frantic search. I'm guessing, not a frantic search, a turnabout would be one of the 3 cards that I'm guessing here. So the opponent's probably going to put the turnabout in graveyard. What he could do is fetch for a Mystic Sanctuary if the turnabout ends up in the graveyard, put it on top, cantrip to it, and yeah, there we go. There's a turnabout.
And that's Hidden Strings, the
Yeah,
other one,
hidden
I think.
strings taps or untaps 2 permanents and then ciphers onto a card. So oh no, 1. Yeah, yeah, it does 2.
Yeah.
So with 2 high tides resolved, the hidden strings is adding 4 mana.
What is that? A
That is an
very interesting. It's a card with a Douglas Schuler
I would
signature.
think that it's a candelabra.
That could be the case. Yeah, that makes sense. It is a candelabra. So we have the candlestick. Cool to see that.
I mean, I think that the obvious choice is to put the candlestick in the graveyard and then
I
give him
was,
the hidden string.
I was entering candlestick in Skyfall. Obviously, it doesn't find anything. Yeah. So here we go again with 1 mana left.
1 mana in pool, 6 possible mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me
And
just
considering he has
check
the
again.
brainstorm and all that, so I think he might take the line that I was talking about earlier. Maybe not. Okay, yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was just checking, like, high tide does count for all the islands in play, not only by the time the spell resolves, but also later.
Yes, yes. It says there's islands you control tap for this much until the end of turn.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes there are spells that grant a specific effect to cards in a zone at the time the spell resolves. For example, there
Yep.
is Pass and Flames. If you cast Pass and Flames, it will only assign flashback to the cards that are currently in your graveyard. If there's
Yep.
anything else entering afterwards, then it won't have flashback. That's one of those examples.
Yep.
So here we have Scalding Tarn, Fetch. Yeah, it's not about that it's like a generic effect. I mean, Yoshi could also make use of the high tide if there was an island in place. That's not the case. But maybe featuring Kraum is also just a confusion tactic.
I think what I've seen in these lists is like we saw a Gitaxian probe, and I think what we see in these lists is like a wash away,
Mm-hmm.
and like the things that one would consider like the really good blue spells. And there are there are games when you don't ever need the really good blue spells.
Yeah, that's right.
So there are considerations of those lists, I guess. And then there's the ones that are just Yoshi Bruce with a mental misstep.
Yeah. Yeah, so Tenka just said that it's the list he usually experiences on tournaments. I've seen it also, especially in the Czech area, by the way. It was a bit more popular, I think. Maybe an old influence from the good old Is it partner times? Thanks to how. That's what it is. We have to be honest about it.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So there is a castle, and here we have Mary.
Fool of a took.
Fool of a took, yes. Good quote. Right in time. That's unfortunately not the name of the card. Instead, it's a very heroic scene.
Mm. I think there is a card, an artwork that shows it.
It could be,
Shows the scene.
let me see, there are a couple of, but not from Esquire of Rohan.
Not a Mary that shows the card,
Yeah,
just a card
exactly.
that shows the scene.
Just, yeah, that's true. That's true. I think I've seen that too. So we have a cloud. Let's see what it finds. We had cloud already in the first game today.
Having to play out Mystic Sanctuary always feels bad when it isn't coming into play untapped.
Yeah. Cloud is going to find Shadow Spear, so boosting Yoshi even further. Oh, that's put so much pressure on the blue player. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to find a great combination of exhaustions and stuff like this. I think apart from exhaustion, there's not much that the deck features, anyways. Swing in for 7. Drawing a card off of Mary.
And High Tide. We've both had a go at playing High Tide,
Mm-hmm.
and we have both, I would say, painfully discovered that if you have a hand that doesn't stop the opponent from developing their board, if you don't win, like you're stopped from winning if you don't have like 4 lands in play, and I think this is not looking too good for the Yoshi player for the Lier player.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like that. I mean,
But I mean,
it's
he got game 1, so he's on the plate game 2, game 3, and
that definitely helps. Lord Yiskal. Uh-huh. That's a new addition from the Final Fantasy set. Or from the Commander set, actually. I'll bring it up. So, the card is a bit skewed, I think. Like, yeah, investigate, cool, but, if it would say draw cards, perfect include. Oh, stealing Yoshi with the Archmage's Charm. That's creative.
ooh, yeah,
I like that. I really like that. Not much activity in the chat so far. Are you guys alive? Are you awake? Too bored from the high tide loops?
I'm never bored by high tide loops.
Me neither. I think it's interesting to watch. Most of the time, you watch people whiffing.
Mm. I mean, I think the way that the game developed game 1 was pretty perfect for Lier. Not too
Yeah,
much pressure from Yoshi, the mental misstep, and then managing to find a high tide without disruption, and
that's true.
yeah, just kind of making it through the game pretty handily.
I mean,
And
we
then
got to
the
see the
turn before he
candlestick.
died of aggro, you just go off, and anything before that is not well. When you get a couple of free turns, so to say, then you just get closer and closer to winning.
That's a beautiful plains. I remember prior to it being printed in one of the Dominaria remastered whatsoever, it was one of the most expensive old bordered planes.
Mm-hmm.
With this single tree in a landscape, and then there's like this thunderstrike in the back. Really cool.
Yeah, yeah. One of the very cool old planes.
Yeah. Just for the audience to enjoy that basic land a little bit. I really like it.
Yeah.
And there's like a little Gandalf. Some
Is that a
some
guy?
some guy. Maybe
I
it's
would think it would be like a zebra or something.
a zebra. No. Hell no. I think it's a dude or a dudette,
Okay.
whatever. Say hi to Barcelona players. Yeah, nice. Great that you guys are joining. Luckily, we have more or less the same time zone. Happy that you guys are tuning in.
Yeah. Archmage's Charm here is very cool because it seems like the Cloud player did not keep a hand with any removal, considering the opponent's text plays like 3 creatures.
Yeah.
And now, yeah,
Yeah.
now there's a
There's the
8-power Yoshi.
unsubstantiate. That's the next card that
Is
deals
it,
with.
is it an 8-power Yoshi?
I think so, yeah. 6+1, yeah. Would be 8/8. It's crazy. It's a nice silver bullet.
Yeah.
So how does the metagame in Barcelona looks like? Is it similar to other European countries? Is it different? Do you guys have some preferences?
If I remember correctly, some friends of mine used to go to Barcelona every year to play a big Magic tournament, and there was always, I think there was always dual commander side events, or
Oh, really?
either dual
Nice.
commander, or I think there was one year where there was Canadian Highlander.
Cool. I've been to Barcelona once. It's a very beautiful city. No, twice actually, twice. It's really cool there. Yeah, I think Wizards is hosting a couple of, or was hosting a couple of Grand Prix already over there.
Mm. It's such a shame that we don't have German big events.
Well, it's simply because Wizards is too lazy to.
I thought it was because of our laws.
Yes, but Wizards could take care of that, explaining the case that this game does not fall under the case of being a purely variation-based game. I
Okay.
think they did that in other countries too, just that the
Mhm.
process was not as complicated as it would be in Germany. And the
Okay.
result is that the whole process would take, it probably would be too costly, and that's why they don't do it.
Yeah.
But it is a shame indeed, because we have like Card Market here, which is or the European leader in terms of card trading, right?
Yeah.
Would be a big name for sponsoring, and we have other sponsors. So
yeah,
yeah,
and we
that's
have
right.
we have a huge player base, right?
Yeah, also that.
It's the amount of people, the amount of Germans that travel to Belgium and the Netherlands, and I think French tournaments as well when they do happen, or to go to Prague when there's the MKM series happening there.
Yeah, yeah. Since you guys have to know that there is like a big history with these days called European Highlander. Back then it was called German Highlander. It's similar to Canadian Highlander, just no point list, just a normal ban list, and without a commander. That was one of the roots of Singleton, if you so will, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I'm not sure how the kind of Commander / Highlander timeline happened, but in the Mannheim area, there was definitely a lot of Highlander being played long before it was ever like really a thing.
Yeah, but I think
People were playing that.
EDH, so Elder Dragon Highlander, was inspired by Highlander because there had to be Highlander in order for the name, and also like someone had to be inspired by a Singleton
Well,
format.
the name comes from the movie Highlander. I'm not
No,
sure if
but I think like
I think that can happen. Those two things can happen independently of each other.
Mm.
That two people are inspired to
Yeah,
call a
okay,
format
okay.
Highlander.
That's a fair point. Yeah. By the way, Intuition, a card that's absolutely busted in Lier, because obviously you get one card into your hand, the other two you can cast with flashback. Crazy card.
Yeah, one card you can cast twice. The other card you can cast
Once.
The other two you can cast once each, and you also have the ability to just recast the intuition and tutor again with it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
it finds you so many cards. If you ever manage to combine, if you have a lot of mana and you've resolved High Tides, resolve intuition. I think there are more piles that win you the game with intuition than there are piles that don't.
Yeah. Absolutely. P-Wave also not being. I mean, it is a problematic card. You can't resolve your commander as long as this card is on board. We have a. Is that a long-term plans? The first card on top? No, that's a twiddle, right?
I don't think I saw any long term plans in the.
I think it's the old artwork from Twiddle. Am I correct? I'm not exactly sure. No, is this a Twiddle? No, that's not a Twiddle. So that's the artwork I'm talking about. No, that's not a Twiddle. What is it? One mana do something.
It could be a twiddle. There's a Force of Will in graveyard.
I couldn't find this artwork. That's my problem. Because there are only 3 artworks. There is
I'll have a
the
look at the Lier list.
8th edition, there is the original one, and then there's the 7th edition, Twiddle. And all of these do not match the artwork that we've just seen, but maybe it's another card.
I didn't see it too well. It was old boarded, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a card they play called Sapphire Charm.
Let me check.
Not sure if that might have been it.
Sapphire Charm. There is a Sapphire Charm. No, that's not the card. Only one. No, that's not the card either.
I think it could be the Sapphire Charm if I'm looking at it.
There's also a Sapphire Leech. But that doesn't make any sense. It's a 2 mana 2/2 flying. Blue spells you play cost 1 more to play. Nice. Thanks a lot.
That's not very good.
That's not really what we're trying to do in a high tide deck. So yeah, maybe people know about it. There's a stock up. Being on 2 HP, despite having Yoshi on your side, is a problem.
And I mean, the Yoshi is only on his side as long as he doesn't get eaten by the parallax wave.
That is true.
So, all right, he's conceding here.
Yeah, I was just about to say. There's probably nothing to do against that. Yeah.
But keeping a hand with not enough land drops or having to spend cards you would like there's a couple of modal spells in the deck, things like the Archmage's Charm, where sometimes you'll be drawing 2 with it, and sometimes you'll be stealing a Yoshimaru, an 8/8 Yoshimaru. And they're like one of those modes is a lot better than the other, but if you have to do that to keep making land drops, then yeah, you're in a difficult spot.
You see, we are we're in 2025, and after such a long time, we get to see a Serum Visions.
Has been a long time since I've seen one of those.
Yeah. It's not the last time, maybe. I don't want to spoil it that much, but as I've said earlier, Samuel is on a blue deck. This might also include Serum Visions.
Yes, I don't think we've seen it on top 8 yet.
Not at all. Don't even spoil it.
Is there a Biquette channel for it?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay. Well,
There are too many. There are too many commanders to experiment with. We just talked about it in between the games. Even, guys, we deal a lot with new cards due to the channel and stuff and tournaments we play and whatsoever. And even if you spend that much time on Magic, it feels like it's still not enough to catch up on all the things that are new, especially now that Final Fantasy has dropped and there are tons of new legends. We haven't really dealt with Tarky whatsoever, right? I mean, there are a couple of interesting legendaries, I think, or at least like upgrades to certain decks. That's for sure.
yeah.
Bird Dragon, for example. There's the new Sultai Drake. That's pretty cool. That was played online and also in some paper events and other things. It's like just it's a bit sad to not be able to take a breath in between and digest the format or digest the set and trying out different things. We have a repeal for Yoshi, and there is a Baral. Baral is a card I've played in Ral Storm. So
Mhm.
the Izzard Ral.
It's also a card that isn't seeing play in a lot of the online deck lists that I'm seeing.
Yeah. I mean, I could imagine that it's a bit win more-ish.
Yeah, my issue with it would be playing a creature that you kind of do want in play in a deck that plays no other creatures always means that the opponent, like there are a lot of hands that an opponent will keep that will include one or two removal spells
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
uh you do really want, like you want to be blanking those. You don't want your opponent getting
Exactly.
to interact with you at all by killing your creatures, because
And
they usually do have those interaction
yeah,
spells,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and that would be my main argument against having the morale in the
Same.
list.
I mean, Lier itself is quite robust, right? 3/4, 5 mana, doesn't die to cut down, doesn't die to fatal push. All these abrupt decay, long goodbye, all these early interactions.
Yeah,
It does die to dismember, of course. There are a couple of black spells that deal with it. There are also a couple of red cards that deal with it. Fury, Flame Slash, stuff like this. Lithomantic Barrage. I haven't seen this card. I actually, someone had it against me in the latest tournament, so I have seen this card, but there was a time in which it was much more popular. Popular, I think, during the Raffine era, it was played a lot because it would circumvent the ward trigger, for example. I still think it's a good card, but it depends. It's more like a sideboard card. So we have Mary again, by the way. Mary and Yoshi combined. The mono blue player passes the turn. Going to fetch for an elegant parlor. Who would have thought? Bringing or milling a land. There is Minas Tirith. Compared to the last game, this is not at all the same level of pressure
yeah.
that he brought up. Also, or mainly due to the repeal, right? And here we have a Talia. Now that's an interesting question. What do you do with that? Is it that much of a problem? Casting intuition in response. Okay.
That's a very cool move because he gets to intuition for the spell he wants, and then fetch for a Mystic Sanctuary to put the spell on top.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Without the Mystic Sanctuary coming into play tapped always because of the Talia.
That's
So he
true.
gets to ignore it afterwards because he's basically only got basics, and otherwise, yeah, that's very cool. So he's probably gonna be.
I mean, the candelabra should go into graveyard because that's
Yeah,
that's the right
he's gonna get
decision.
given turnabout, and then he cracks for a Mystic Sanctuary to put Hide on top.
Yeah, exactly. And
And unless
otherwise,
there is more
since
interaction,
the sanctuary, just for the viewers, it has to enter untapped,
yeah,
which it usually does with 4 islands or 3 other islands, but that's not the
but since it's
case.
a non-basic land,
Yeah.
there is the chance. Yeah.
There we go. Really nice. Drawn a card due to the Mary trick.
Yeah, attacking with 2 creatures.
Now, if there is an interaction spell, you could probably even go off without Lier. Storm count 2. Casting your commander. For 1, recasting High Tide. Now would be the time to respond with an interaction spell. Turnabout, that's crazy. Yeah. So now each island is producing 3 blue instead. And as you mentioned earlier, intuition will draw another 3 cards if you so will.
Yeah.
Or even 4 if
Snap,
you.
which is very mana positive.
Yeah,
Probably
but
going to be
it's
like Snap,
crazy.
Hidden Strings, and.
Yeah, you can go
But this is his
for
last
various
tutor, so
things.
he could go for Merchant Scroll
Yeah,
as his last card.
in order to find the brain freeze. But there's frantic search. Maybe he has the brain freeze or something to find it in
I
hand
mean,
already.
he has cantrips. He has
Yeah, also that. Yeah.
but yeah, he might have one card that kind of seals the deal because if he doesn't, now would be a chance to fizzle. He only sees 6 cards with his cantrips from graveyard. Frantic Search sees another 2, so he's seeing 8 cards.
Decides to put the hidden strings in hand. So snapping Talia seems fine. Untapping 2. And then 9 mana for 3 Frantic Search.
Frantic Search. So one very cool thing about Lier is that it like perfectly does what you want it to do. It's not like a Yawgmoth's Will where you cast Yawgmoth's Will and Yawgmoth's Will, and then the cards that enter your graveyard afterwards get exiled as well, which kind of puts you at a disadvantage sometimes.
There's no way he's fizzling from that point on. There's a Lorien revealed in graveyard.
Especially considering he discarded the Lorien revealed if he was looking for, if he was still looking for cards and not just for the ability to storm enough.
Exactly, yeah.
he wouldn't have discarded the Lorien.
Then again, I mean, 5 mana is costly, so you have to take that in consideration. Yoshi's bounced again. Even if he whiffs, the Boros player is miles away from winning the game. And here we have the Twiddle. Netting 2 mana. He's like, what the fuck is that? Well, sir.
Okay, well, one thing to say is, even if he whiffs, if he does whiff, then this game is probably over for Yoshi.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said.
Because
That's yeah.
no, other way around. Yoshi wins the game because his high tide is in exile. He does not have. He has no other line to victory than winning this turn.
Okay. Well, because now even if the candlestick would be available,
He has used and exiled most of his land untappers, so
might be
like if he
true.
does not win this turn, he does not win the game.
There is the brain freeze. So brain freeze for 17 times
And then
3.
brain freeze again out of graveyard.
Exactly.
Then
But
yeah,
you
so he
could
only needs
just also
the brain freeze for 30, and then he wins.
higher the count. And there is the handshake. That's the GG.